After 8 consecutive interest rate increases here in Canada since March of 2022, this past week's rate announcement by the Canadian government was highly anticipated. There was speculation that they would increase rates by 0.5%, also known as 50 basis points, 25 basis points, or keep things where they are currently at. If they were to increase by 50 basis points, I do feel that that impact would have been felt very heavily on the real estate market. If they increased rates by 25 basis points, I feel that would have had a moderate impact on the housing market, as things are already quite unaffordable considering how high the rates have gone in the last year. And if they kept things where they are currently at, I feel this would invite a lot of buyers back into the market, gaining a lot of confidence that now is the right time to start looking. And what they actually did was keep rates where they were at. This is the first time that interest rates have been left alone in a full year, and we are the first major economy across the world where we've began to see interest rates do their job. In this video, I'm going to discuss what this means and my prediction the impact this last rate announcement is going to have on the Canadian economy, and more particularly the Canadian real estate market. I'm Brandon O'Quinn, and I share my opinions surrounding educational information as it pertains to the real estate market in the local area that I service, the Quinte region, and across Canada as a whole, so that buyers and sellers can make informed decisions that are going to be within their best interest. So rates were at 0.25% about 1 year ago, and after 8 back-to-back rate increases, they went all the way up to a whopping 4.5%. Now, the major reason that we started increasing rates was not only because the housing market started just going super high, but it was also to combat inflation. The cost of goods were just going too far up, and we had to do something about it. So I'm going to share my screen here and show you guys a graph that'll help put this into perspective. I also shared a similar graph in one of my previous videos if you guys want to check that out. And I actually go a little more in depth to the fundamental supply-demand issue we have in this country, and also talked in a little more detail of what's happened with inflation and interest rates and why. But I'm just going to show you this for a quick snapshot to see that inflation was crazy about a year ago at the start of 2022. And that's when the Bank of Canada started hiking up the interest rates. So as you can see, the inflation in red has started coming back down, which is a good sign. And the government must feel like we're in pretty good shape considering they decided to not increase rates any further. But there is a bit of a lag to see what impact rate increases will have on inflation. So good news for now, but we'll see what happens moving forward. So this may seem obvious, but as interest rates go up, homes become less affordable and prices begin to go down. And as rates hold steady and especially start to come down, buyers become more confident, houses become more affordable, and that's when we see prices start to go back up. So interest rates clearly play a very big role in what happens with the housing market, and the other main factor is supply and demand. And I've talked about this in a previous video, but here in Canada, we have a big supply demand issue. For demand, we have a population that is growing extremely fast, and we also have, for supply, a really big shortage of inventory and builders with a lack of ability to build fast enough to keep up with this big growing population. I also want to show you guys a graph that shows the median sale prices across Ontario, in Belleville, and in Quinte West, going all the way back to 2020. And I'm going to put an emphasis on where we are at the start of 2022 and what's happened since then, where we're at now, and what I expect to happen going into the future. So when we look at the start of 2022, rates were still at 0.25%. There was a lot of demand, low supply, and prices, quite frankly, went really crazy. As the government started increasing interest rates, we saw prices fall a lot. I don't think anyone expected rates to go up that fast or prices to come down that fast, but the government felt they had to take big action in order to combat the increase of inflation and the increase of costs of homes as well as other goods. So this is where we are at the end of February. We can actually see here in gray, Quinte West prices went up slightly. Prices across Ontario went up slightly. In Belleville, they went down slightly. But I'm noticing, working with a lot of buyers that have been being patient and prudent the last few years, the fact that the government decided to keep rates where they are currently at, I feel has actually invited a lot of buyers back in, because they've been waiting for when they felt the right time was to capitalize on low prices. And a lot of them feel that time is now. A lot of them feel that the market has bottomed out, and I tend to agree. So whether the market bottomed out a month ago, whether it's happening right now, or whether it's going to happen next month or in the coming months, there's no doubt that we have a lot of pent-up demand, and that as interest rates begin to fall and buyers become more confident, we are going to see prices start to increase again marginally. But I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the wild increases that we saw over the last few years. And one thing that I do want to mention is there still is a chance that interest rates will go back up. The government's feeling pretty confident right now, but I can tell you they are very busy in the background analyzing things to determine what the best course of action is going into the future. And whether or not they do increase rates depends on a variety of things, but one of the big factors is what our neighbor to the south is going to do. If the US continues to increase interest rates and it gets too far apart from where we are at, the US dollar will start to increase, the Canadian dollar will start to increase, and this will leave us no choice but to start increasing rates further. But again, after talking to and listening to people that are much smarter than me, such as economists, we don't expect this to happen. So one piece of advice that I would recommend is to make sure to talk to your mortgage advisor, talk to your financial advisor, and if you're planning on purchasing a home in the next few years, the one thing I would caution you of is to not lock yourself into a rate for too long. A lot of buyers and financial experts that I've been talking to seem to feel that between 1 to 3 year, if they're going to go with a fixed rate, is the max that they want to lock themselves into, because again, we do expect rates to come back down. And whether that happens at the start of 2024, the middle of 2024, we really don't know yet, but there is no doubt that that is coming in the future. If you found the information in this video valuable, please like and subscribe, as I'm on the road to my first 1,000 subscribers. And if you have any friends or family, people around you that you feel this video would be helpful for, feel free to send it to them too. Thank you for watching and have a great day.